All right. So we are back again.
Yes, here we
The
are.
Howard and John show. Here is Howard, my fabulous co-host,
Hi, John. How you doing?
and I am John, and
Doing
I am
well?
doing well,
Good.
and glad to be here as usual.
Yeah, yeah. I love this. I like it. I look forward to this. I said this
Good.
last time, but I do. I still
I
look
did
forward
too.
to it even after a week. I enjoy
After
it.
several weeks, really.
After several weeks. Yeah,
Yeah.
several weeks. Yeah.
So this week we are venturing into a very important topic that
Mhm.
has been discussed. It is something that people discuss, but we haven't discussed it here. But it's a very important and integral part of our lives. And that topic is
Building good habits. I'd say just habits. Did I ruin it already?
no, no,
We're
no.
going to start over
There
again.
was there was there was the dramatic pause, and then you filled it. I like it.
Okay, good, good.
So good
Yes,
habits. Good
good
habits. You
habits.
want to you
Yeah.
want to define what a good habit is? What does that mean?
Well, I think a good habit is something that you integrate into your life. A habit is something you do as a default. So your habit will be a default activity
It's
or
automatic.
behavior, a default behavior that
Yeah.
you've trained yourself. So smoking is a habit, but it's a bad habit. It's a
Yeah.
habit that's bad for you, but it
Yeah.
is still a habit. Um, uh, 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 um, Making your bed. That's a good habit.
Good habit.
It's a good habit,
Yeah.
and
I think so, at
and
least.
I think
Unless,
it's a good habit.
well, anyway, yeah, okay. It is a good habit. I agree.
It's not the best habit. There are better habits,
That's true.
but I mean, I didn't honestly. I thought, well, exercise, but that's where every talk of habits goes to exercise, and this one will inevitably go to exercise.
Of course.
But I didn't want to just jump right into that big pool.
You don't want to be cliche.
I just or predictable. I just want so making your bed is a good habit, and it's a habit that I have. I get up and I make
You
my
do.
bed. I do.
Even though nobody else is going to see it other than you.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm not
But
judging you. I'm just saying that it's interesting to think that well then okay, let's just ride that wave a little bit, or ride that blanket a little bit.
that lonely, right? That lonely wave.
And I'm not talking about lonely way. So what makes you make your bed when you know that no one else is going to see it? What is it about making your bed? What got you started, and why do you do it?
Well, like many of us, I was not a bed maker when I was a child. I had to
Yes.
be. It was not a. It was a fight. Like I didn't want to make my bed. My mom made me make my bed, and I didn't want to. Most of that because I didn't want her telling me what to do. It was my bed. Mm, but I found that making the bed is a very small accomplishment. Now,
Mm.
this is since my 30s. I've been a bed maker. Like a bed. When I say I've been a bed maker,
I
if
love
I don't
it.
make my bed, I feel like messed up.
So
It's like
so you actually feel off if you don't make your bed.
right, and that is an important part of a habit, by the way. You know that you know that a habit is stuck when you don't behave in the habitual way. You're missing something. Something's off, and when I don't make my bed, it's off, and it doesn't take much time. Again, it's low investment and high reward. I can walk into my bedroom and I look at my bed and it looks fine. It looks good. It looks neat. It looks like and I'm not going to get back into that bed in the
Ah,
middle of the
so it's
day.
also a deterrent.
Maybe it's not a big problem for me. I know other people have that problem. I don't. Not that I'm not anti-nap.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
think
yeah. We're
taking a
not
nap is
judging
good for
nappers, but
you. Right.
but it's interesting just to hear your because
But there's a
I,
level of nap. Like if I take a nap, I will. I can enjoy a nap without unmaking the bed, I just get on top of the bed.
That's true.
But if I'm like going for like serious nap, I'm getting under the covers and it's like 2 PM. I mean, it can be a great treat to do that, but
Yeah, no.
it's great. And
And many
sleep.
people do.
It's a great sleep.
Yeah.
I mean, the naps are the best sleeps.
Yeah. I rarely ever nap, but
Yeah.
sometimes when I do, especially on Sunday afternoons, I sometimes will not just catch like a 5-minute nap. Sometimes it's like an hour and a half.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. The 2 hour, 2.5. I'll go
Oh,
2.5, 3 hours.
Yeah. 3 hours. Good for you.
Yeah. Thank you. But the bed being made, it's as a deterrent, it really just sets the bar up a little higher. Like, okay, if you're going to get in this bed, first you're going to get on the bed. And that's going to be like 15, 20 minutes, maybe some cat nap. I got to do some work to get under the bed, and I got to undo the bed because then I got to make it again afterward.
Then it becomes a tiger nap.
Yeah. But we know that making a bed, it's to me, and I think a lot of people would agree, it is a statement that, that you care about your stuff, you care about your habitat, you're mindful of your space. And I think that's important. And it's a very simple way to start your day.
So what got you started? How did you actually, in your 30s, I'm going to start making my bed. Like, what was the impetus? Was there something, was there a catalyst? Or was just something in your head that goes, you know what? I'm becoming a bed maker today.
Yeah. Well, I think it was just it's not so much that I wanted to see a neat bed. It's that when you get into a bed, if you're not a bed maker, and I channel my pre-bed maker self,
yeah,
I can remember climbing into a bed that wasn't made. It might be like the first day that it's not made, it's okay. But by the third day, the sheets are all untucked. Your feet are sticking out of the bottom of the bed. Maybe the cover's like halfway off on the, and it's just, maybe it's upside down. You got the comforter.
Yeah.
The sheets aren't.
It's not optimal.
This stuff. Yeah. And it's not optimal. And then that affects your sleep. And it just it affected me. And I realized that why not just make the bed? And once I started doing that, I started feeling like getting into those nice tight bed where the sheets are tucked in. That's a great feeling. So it was like, reward was well worth the trouble of making the bed. And that's my story. Are you a bed maker, John? Are you a bed maker?
When I was single, yes, I made my bed, but I made it so simple that you almost couldn't help but make that bed because I had a duvet and a sheet. And so all I had to do was make sure the sheet was on okay, tuck it under, and then my duvet, I just made sure that it was kind of on right. And that was it. So I made it as efficient and as user-friendly and frictionless as possible.
Yeah. So I don't think I'm glad that I was never the type of person that needed dust ruffles and hundreds of pillows and stuff.
We're that though. We're that now. Rachel is all about, oh yeah, we've got like, I don't know, 10 pillows on the bed right now.
And there's a specific way that they have to kind of go.
Yeah. Well, she got her way, and I just kind of, I stand out of the way. I'm like, listen, you've got a masterpiece. I'm just a duvet. I like the duvet, and I've got a couple pillows underneath there, and super bachelor style.
And that's even a more impressive speed bump on the way to a nap. That's, now you got to deal with the pillows and the wife's disappointment. And all
yeah. There's no touching that bed. No touching that bed until not solid night. Right. Yeah. No. Napping is done on the couch.
Yeah, my bed. It takes me like, I just make sure everything's kind of tucked in, and I put the whatever. It's a low maintenance bed making, but that's not the point. The point is that it's my first habit, performance, habitual behavior. Yeah. I do that.
First thing you do today.
Yeah, and I don't have a whole lot of habits.
But what do you do before that? Do you do anything before that? Is there anything that you do before? Because a lot of times, I think people when they wake up, they're like, "Oh man, another day," right? That exactly the heavy sigh. Mm-hmm. Is there anything that you do inside your mind, inside your head, inside your heart what are there any things that kind of get you going out of bed, to get you out or energized or anything like that? Or what even happens? Like once you wake up, what do you do?
Well, I do have a major habit, that behavior that I every morning, and that is going to the gym. It's my exercise habit that I do, and every my morning is built around that. So I wake up
Yeah.
at 7. I wake up. Well, I set my alarm for 7 a.m.
Yeah.
and I do hit the snooze bar.
You do. You're
I
a snoozer.
I'm a snoozer, and I'm telling you, I'm being completely
You're a
honest.
bed making
I need to be
snoozer.
at the gym at 8 a.m.
Oh, wow. So you have the alarm at 7:15, you said?
7 a.m.
7 a.m. Okay. Straight on
And
the dot.
I hit the snooze for like 5 times or 3 times. I think it's like a 7-minute snooze on the,
okay.
And then,
so you're basically at 7:30 at that point.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah. 7:30.
Yeah.
7, if I can get up at 7:25, 7:30, that's fine. And then, and so the bad habits are like, I may open my phone and look at Facebook, or I may read the New York Times. I have like my newspapers, but they're all digital now. Yeah. So I will kind of look at that stuff. I may look at a few texts, really all the stuff you're not supposed to do, the bad habits. But 7:30, I'm out of bed, and that bed is going to be made very quickly.
Interesting. Okay.
And then,
so then you make the bed and you go.
Yeah. Then I have coffee. I make coffee.
Okay.
And
the wonderful morning ritual.
Yeah, gotta have that. And then and I have to be. I brush my teeth. I put in contact lenses because I wear glasses, but for my workouts I do contact lenses. And then I get dressed and I head to the gym. And if I want to leave by 7:51. I have to be in my car by 7:51.
Why? So that you make it on time?
So I can make it on time.
Got it.
That's what I know. And I think many people listening to this podcast will kind of, they can relate to that. Like it's not 7:50, 7:51. That's the time. That's with their trial and error. You kind of, and if it's too early, I don't want to be the first, maybe the first one there, but I'm not going to, there's nothing to do. I can roll around and stretch, but I really feel like, look at that. I really feel like, 7:51, get there, 8 o'clock. And that's the thing. And so my whole morning is based around my exercise ritual.
So let me just add another element in here. So in midlife has its own challenges. It is a variable in our humanity, in our life and phase of life. Is it a factor? Has it been a factor for you in your bed makingness, in your workouts? Especially I think we'll eventually have to wind back into how did you actually start these habits? And then also what is causing you to keep them going even in your midlife? Because I would imagine that there is somehow the uphill climb of life gets just a little bit steeper when you hit midlife. And so what's going on inside of you, and how much of that is midlife is a factor, and how do you deal with it?
Well, I think I've gotten better. I know myself better than I did when I was in my 20s and 30s. And so I find myself, I don't really I'm not really influenced as much by other people to set new habits. I know what I need. I know what works for me, and not 100%. Sometimes I try something and it doesn't work or something, but I feel like the habits that I have, and there aren't many, I'm very careful about the habits I have, and they're not all good, but the habits that I have work for me. They work for me. And it's always a little bit of adjustment here and there, because you never know what life's going to throw at you. We have a pandemic, and that really throws the stuff off.
Yeah, sure.
If you go to a gym, but but I feel like in some ways I have more discipline than I had when I was in my 20s and 30s. And some ways I feel like I have less focus. So the habits become more important. It's more important to rely on the habit because I kind of get more distracted now than I used to. And I think we've talked about that in earlier episodes. So it's a little bit of both. The habits are, I rely on them and I find them easier. The habits that are good for me, that are helpful, I should say, are easier to maintain.
So yeah. So how about me? I was just thinking that habits. I'll go and start with how I started to form better habits. In my 20s, I was pretty good, but in my 30s, I gained a lot of weight. I just did not care. I did not exercise. I did not do much. I didn't read as much as I do now. Certainly didn't write. And I was very unhealthy. And
were you depressed? Were you sad?
I'm sure I had bouts of depression. Sure. Yeah, definitely. I don't know if I was depressed the entire time. I think I just didn't care that much. There was a lot of complexities. I had a lot of chronic pain, and I think that was causing some problems. And I think it was due to over-exercising when I was younger. And so I just totally, flipped the pendulum and I was anti-exercise, basically.
Shut it all off.
Oh, totally, for a decade. And then eventually I got married, and then Rachel started to kind of prod me a little bit and started making me think, maybe I should start taking care of myself, if I want to live a decently long life or longer life. And so I just started, doing stuff, and I have this whole long post about it, but I won't go all the way in depth to it. But I will say that I'll just say some of the habits. Started exercising more daily, took baby steps, started reading more. It was just very difficult for me to read consistently, but I started reading more, and then I started writing, and then now I have a bunch of habits that I do on a daily basis.
Did you form these habits on purpose? Did you think, I'm going to form a habit of writing? I'm going to form a habit of meditating? Or are these things that just sort of developed?
They started off as ideas. And really the way I was just saying that the way I function is I'm very goal oriented. And so I had, why did I start writing, for instance? I started writing because I loved words and I wanted to become a better writer, period. That was it. And I knew that if I want to become a better writer, I have to write.
Yeah.
And so that was it. I mean, it's a very simple thought and goal is I want to become a better writer. And in order to do that, I have to write. So then in order to do that, I thought I had to write daily. And that's basically it. And I started going from there. Reading, the same thing. If I want to be a better writer, I need to read. If I want to be a better person, I should read. I want to be healthier. I want to live longer. I need to exercise. I need to feed myself better food, and all that kind of stuff. And so I think where a lot of people trip up is from the goal or intention and the action. I think people all day long have intentions, have goals, but they don't quite get to the action part, the actual acting. And I think that people can be very hard on themselves. I know I am a very, I am a self bludgeoner. I will whip myself with my words. If I could sometimes without being totally ashamed, I would probably be one of those priests that would whip himself too, physically.
Flagellators.
Not flatulators, flagellators.
That's totally different.
That's a very different thing. Although it could be equally painful.
It's a different form of pain. But yeah, you're right. It's I'm that way too. I can be I can say things to myself that I would never say.
Never imagine.
Never imagine. Like if a friend messed something up.
Yeah.
I'm generally supportive or helpful or,
Yeah,
you know,
yeah, forgiving.
try to be but if I do it,
Yeah.
oh man, I would
Oh,
defriend myself pretty quickly.
you would
I
cancel
would be
yourself.
like, I'd block. Maybe
Howard Lerner, gone.
gone. Yeah,
Sad. I mean, but
I'd
it's,
report myself for a terms of service violation too, because the language I use to myself, I really have to not do that.
yeah. And so,
And did you okay? So keep going. I'm sorry.
well, it's no. Thank you. I think so we both obviously have that, and I think that people who want to have habits, and almost everybody, I think that there's just a lot of self-flagellating,
Mhm.
and so that I found that was very harmful and very it was an obstacle that I needed to overcome, because then I just feel badly and make myself feel worse. So in order to overcome that, I just created tiny little goals that I knew that I could achieve, that I couldn't help but achieve.
Mm.
And so, like, literally for my workouts, I would make a goal of doing literally a crunch or 3 a day, or
That's great.
a couple
That's
of
to
days a
start,
week.
just to kind of prime the
Get
pump
it
on the
going.
habit.
Just get it going. And then it literally started going from there. Reading too. I mean, I would read like 2 pages and feel tired. I mean, it's absurd, but it's true.
Mm.
Because I
Yeah.
was all Netflixed in. I watched everything. But
Not
then
fast enough. So the books just aren't fast enough.
no. And then eventually I started to get better and read a lot more. And now I'm reading, obviously many more pages than that,
Mhm.
and easily, and not getting tired or fatigued. So yeah, I mean, getting over that hump, I think that for me, it was so gradual. It literally, for me, it took years to get fit.
Mhm.
And it was just slowly but
Well,
surely.
doing one crunch a day is definitely going to take.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
You're going to do one crunch a day. It's going to take you quite a while.
Took me a long, and eventually I upped the ante and I upped the reps.
I figured you.
But I mean, no shame. I mean, to me, I look at people, I'm like, that's where you, like, if you beat yourself up verbally, know that, like, you shouldn't do that, but we do it. So
Yeah.
find a way to completely diffuse that and do
Yeah.
something so small that you cannot get angry at yourself.
I
So
I love
how do you avoid that? What do you?
well, I don't. I mean, I don't. I beat myself up. That's what I do. I mean, I'm going to tell you, I'm not a pro at this healthy behavior that I don't even know what it's
Interesting.
called, the positive self-image. I beat myself up. But I was reading this morning, and I was just doing some of my sort of reading on healthy living and stuff like
Yeah.
that, and I came across a reference to a researcher in at Stanford.
Mm-hmm.
He wanted to create the habit of exercising, of going to the gym, but he
Mm-hmm.
didn't have the time to do that. He didn't want to make that commitment to do that, but he wanted to really exercise for about an hour a day. Get an hour of exercise a day. So what he decided to do, this is brilliant. I thought this was so brilliant. Instead of taking a gym membership or working out for an hour, every time he'd go to the bathroom, he would do 3 push-ups. Every time he would go to the bathroom, he'd do 3 push-ups. So the guy, maybe he was a lot, I don't know. He'd go to the bathroom 10 times a day.
Had a tiny bladder.
Yeah, right. I don't know. I've never counted the number of times they go to the bathroom a day, but going into the bathroom. So maybe you just go in there to, like, I don't know.
Oh, just not even going to the bathroom.
I'm assuming, because 10 times a day.
I don't know.
How often do you pee?
I pee fairly often.
I do too.
Yeah, I drink a lot of water.
Well, maybe just whatever. But 10 times a day, he would do 3. That's 30, right?
Yeah, 30 push-ups. Yeah,
30 push-ups a day, and that's there
it's
you
decent
go.
workout. Yeah,
It's a decent workout, and you have that sort of rule. So you set a rule,
yeah.
and that's a much less invasive process than joining a gym and then trying to pick what time and then getting the car going and doing all that stuff. Now, it's not my thing to go to to do that push-up thing, but I think for someone who is maybe more time pressed or doesn't really believe that they can or doesn't want to join a gym or
Yeah.
set aside you know 1 hour to do it.
Yeah.
It's not very intense, but you're doing so. You can always make it 5, you can make it 10, whatever.
I'm not a gym goer. I work out from home. You are a gym goer. Do you work out the full hour?
Well, I am a member of a CrossFit gym, and I'll put a link. It's CrossFit Rocksteady in St. Louis, and I've been a member for 2.5 years there,
Mm-hmm.
and I go 5 times a week, and 4 to 5 times a week, most often 5 times a week, and it is a habit. It is set. I'm there. It is. If I don't go, I'm feeling like I'm missing something. That's what that's that.
That something's wrong.
That's when when you know that you have a habit is when you don't do it, you're feeling like something's off or something's wrong.
Yeah.
So I go. So my habit. So the hour. Do I exercise for an hour? It's kind of varied. You go. Typically you show up. I go, as I said, 8 a.m. The class starts, and it is during the pandemic right now. So we have everyone has to wear a mask. It's in the city of St. Louis. You're required to wear a mask in the gym. So I actually wear a mask the whole time. Everyone wears a mask the whole time, and it's not a problem. Right. Not an issue. That's not a problem. It's you manage, and I get the same intensity of workout. So we'll do a little warm up, maybe do some foam rollers, and we do the lacrosse ball and the rough parts of your shoulders and your back and whatever. Just kind of loosen up a little bit, and then we'll do a warm up. And that warm up may be 800-meter run, or it may be some little bit of lifting, or whatever. And you do that, and then you have this prescribed workout, and it can be. It's usually some sort of of an aerobic type workout that involves functional movements like pull-ups, push-ups, weight, barbell work, dumbbell work, kettlebell swings, things like that, rope climbing, jump rope, those kinds of things. And so this workout will be programmed by the coach, and we'll do that. And it may be for time, or maybe for number of reps. It's competitive. So
is it harder for you to keep that going as you get older?
It is not harder.
It's not harder.
I think it's easier.
Because it's easier.
Because I know who I am. As I said earlier, I know, like, I'm not, first of all, I'm not in school. I don't have a 9-to-5 type job. I just don't schedule anything before like 10 a.m.
So it's dedicated to your workout.
It's dedicated. I'm not messing with that. And even the gym was closed between mid-March and mid-June. The gym was closed. We couldn't go. So the habit wasn't going to the gym. The habit was exercising. I needed to get that. So I just had a workout, and I did the same. For me, I had the same workout I did during the pandemic. I just did it, on my floor, and that was really 100 push-ups.
What did you do? Okay,
100 push-ups, 100 sit-ups, and 100 air squats. I mean, broken down into 10. So I did 10 sets of 10.
Got it.
And I did that,
How long did it take you to do that?
15 minutes, something like that.
Oh, that's not bad.
That's not bad. It really isn't. Really doesn't take that long to do. And then I would do always another. But I've created a micro habit within the workout where I add 25 burpees. And I've been doing this. It's 1 year challenge that I do, and I started doing it on September 30th, 2019. And it's 25 burpees after every workout, every single workout. So I've done maybe almost 4,000 extra burpees. A burpee is, for those of you who don't know, is it's like you start standing up, you jump down, you do a push up, and you stand up, and you jump up in the air, and you clap your hands over your head.
Yeah. You should link it, and then we'll also link my post that I talked about how I got fit.
Yeah.
Anything for people to think through how to actually get fit in your life, in your midlife. I think that's a huge component. I mean, at least for me, didn't it change? Were you ever not fit?
There was a time when I was when exercise was not there have been times in my life where exercise has not been a priority, and there have been very short times, very little times.
Okay, so
I was
exercise has usually been a part of your repertoire
Mhm.
for life.
Whether it's been running or I started running when I was 15 years old, and
Got it. So
I would
you've
go running.
always literally been pretty healthy.
Yeah, but that doesn't mean that in college I picked up, I would occasionally smoke. Believe it or not, I would smoke cigarettes occasionally.
Did you really?
Yeah, it was weird. Yeah.
Fascinating. So just
I
to
really enjoyed that too. That was a bad habit that I could
really,
definitely,
you enjoyed
like,
it.
if cigarettes were healthy, I'd be all over that shit. It's a disgusting habit, but I can see.
Did you always drink it with, did you smoke with your coffee?
It was really kind of not related. I mean,
It
but there
wasn't.
is a coffee and a cigarette is really great.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
It's a
People
great
always
thing.
talk about that.
You
So,
know, yeah,
so
it,
yeah. So real quick to finish my thought, that when you're unhealthy or at least not fit, um, I found that I was really in a bad place in many ways. It affected everything else. That the
Interesting.
biology affected my psychology. It
Mhm.
affected my emotional well-being,
Of
even
course,
affected
yeah.
me spiritually. Like it was just always a cloud. And when
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
fit, I always feel great. And I think that's one of the
Mhm.
things I think that probably why it gets easier is that there is I think an addiction in a good way, an addiction to these endorphins that you get from
Mhm.
working out, the sense of I want to feel good every single day.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that that is the goal, the end all be all. I'm just saying that it is a goal that working out and healthy habits, especially ones that incorporate your fitness,
Mhm.
um, make your entire life easier. And so it is. I think the hardest part is getting that momentum going. And
Yes.
so yeah, what keeps you going? What is it? You, obviously you have something. There is something inside of you that automatically generates. It just goes. It seems like you have an
Right.
engine that just automatically.
Well, I
What
think that's
do you know? What makes it happen? What makes
there's
it
a
go?
natural inertia that happens. Like, we are physical beings. We are physical beings, and we live in a physical world that is governed by the laws of physics. And the one of those key rules is inertia, right? Is that an object at rest stays at rest unless acted upon by an equal opposite force, and an object in motion stays in motion unless acted upon by equal opposite force. It is it is hard to get the boulder rolling,
Sure,
but once you get it rolling, it's hard to get the boulder to stop.
sure,
So
yeah,
it's the same thing with a habit or with an exercise habit. How much time does it take to get that boulder rolling? And well, from my reading, it appears that it's about 90 days for exercise habit.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
90 days. 90 days to 90 days of exercise, 3 months of doing that, you now are, you've got a momentum going, and now it's going to take some effort to stop that. You're
Yeah.
going to have to, and it can happen. I mean, it can happen. Vacation can happen. You got to kind of think about all these things. But when you start planning your life a little bit around those workouts, just like I define my morning routine, not by making the bed. That's a habit, but that is not, not the motivation. I got to wake up and make my
I
bed.
gotta make my bed.
Yeah. Yeah. No, not that. But it is the workout, that the exercise. And now when I take a trip, when I travel, if I, with the pandemic, whatever, the first thing wasn't work, wasn't getting groceries, wasn't caring for others. It was, what about my workout? I mean, really, it was quite selfish, but it's how am I going to do that? And got to solve that problem. There was never a moment during the pandemic that there was an excuse to, I never relished in this excuse to not work out. I had a problem to solve, and I tried different things. I'd go down to the playground down across the street.
Yeah.
That worked pretty well. But I found that really, I just gotta, I just gotta get my workout in, and this is what it's going to be. And, and if I can do that prescribed workout, I'll be fine.
Interesting.
That sets my day up. And so it's so, I mean, to kind of encapsulate this, it's hard to start. It's hard
Yeah.
for everyone to start.
Yeah.
But once you start, it's hard to stop.
Yeah.
After a certain while, but that's why going to the gym 2 days a week, no, not going to work. It's not going to make a habit. I don't think that's going to make a habit. At least 3 days a week, at least 4 days a week.
Yeah. I would say, so I would say this, I would say not even go to the gym. Especially for people who have a hard time. For me, like,
right. I shouldn't say go to the gym. It's exercise. Is that?
Yeah. Exercise. Going to the gym is harder for me, like, because like I am a homebody. To get outside my door, it takes just more inertia. So I just because I also know certain weaknesses and habits or proclivities that I have, and I like to be able to have something so simple that I can't not but do it. For instance, I make my workouts all from home. My workout is not in the morning. I do them usually in the afternoon, sometimes in the evening. And I will do this core exercise for about 7 minutes, where it consists of a bunch of sets and reps of crunches, and then some push-ups.
You're on like a yoga mat or something on the floor.
Not on the rug. I don't even want to roll out the yoga mat because I don't want to roll it back. I'm that lazy.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's not lazy. It's just you low prep.
Oh yeah. I mean, I do not want to prep anything. I just want to have the time optimized. And so I'll literally roll over. I'll play a podcast I've been listening to, throw it down on a phone, and then I'll get on the floor and I'll just start repping away until exhaustion.
So it sounds like you don't enjoy it.
Oh,
like it sounds like it's just like something like some chore you have to get through.
No. Well, I enjoy it, but
you enjoy having done it.
I enjoy
while you're doing it.
Sometimes I do. Yeah, I'd say that. But it is also something it's just automatic. I don't even think about enjoyment. I just think this is what I do.
This is what you do.
Yeah.
That's really a habit. That's a habit.
Before it was like, oh my gosh, I hate this.
Right.
Because it's so painful. But my chronic pain was so bad. But then eventually it went away. And I think largely because of my diet and because of exercise.
The body has an amazing capacity to heal itself.
Amazing. So I want to talk about other habits. What other habits do you do? So you say you curate some of your habits. What are some of those habits that can you kind of list them out?
Well, I
like smoking.
No, I don't smoke anymore.
oh, sorry. Yeah.
I was never a smoker. I was just in my 20s in graduate school and at various moments, I would smoke occasionally, and I found it so pleasurable. I really was like, this cannot be a feature of my life because I don't want to do this.
You like it too much. Okay. So besides making the bed, exercising in the morning, what else do you do?
Well, I never leave dishes in the sink. I clean my food prep area as I'm cooking. If I'm preparing something, I don't go to bed with dishes on the counter or in the sink. Everything is put away in the dishwasher or on the cupboard. I want it to. My living space is neat.
It's orderly. You like order.
Orderly. And again, since my late 30s. Right around the time I started making my bed, as I think about it. So
interesting.
And also, just kind of it's minimal. Not having I have this routine for cleaning. And I know where everything is, and I do that. And I don't like to have just stuff flying around. And also, my kitchen, like so many people's homes, my kitchen is right in the middle of my place. It's like this open kitchen model. Right. If your kitchen's messy, your whole house is messy. You can't just close the door like in the old days, the old house.
There's a little compartment. No, it's everywhere.
No, it's everywhere. So I don't. So that's one of the habits. Another one is maybe there's some not great habits. Like I like to at the end of the night, I look forward to just crashing and turning the TV on and maybe eating some ice cream.
Hey, you do it.
Well, yeah, it's not.
Is that a good thing? I think it's a good thing to have little treats. to have like
Yeah, I
little
mean,
little.
some little treats. Sometimes I can eat a whole pint of ice cream.
No judgment, brother.
No judgment, thank you.
No judgment.
But it can happen, and it doesn't happen. I just try to stop myself, but it really does affect me. One thing about habits, though, I want to kind of go back to this.
Yeah.
I think there are habits and there are routines, and much of what I'm describing is a routine, like my night routine. Maybe
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
might watch
Yeah.
Netflix or something, or maybe nothing. Like many of us can understand. Like I may sit down, turn the TV on, and there's nothing to watch, and I just will like flip through, and then I'll just kind of go to bed, and
Yeah.
I have not watched anything. Or I'll, well, that's a routine. Cleaning my kitchen is a routine. I think one thing about habits that I've also noticed is that isn't like we pick a we select, on New Year's resolutions. You say, I want to start going to the gym. It's not so much about what you're going to do. It's also what are you not going to do in that time, giving something up. And that's a big deal and you don't think about that until that moment when you're lying in bed. And now it's like, I can lie in this comfy, cozy bed, or I can get up and go to the gym where it's going to hurt, and so there's this sort of trade-off.
Mm-hmm.
And until the benefits outweigh the pain, you're not going to, so you have to do some mental gymnastics or so that you can eventually see some results so that inertia can keep you going.
What are the mental gymnastics that you do? What goes through your head?
It's hard. You force yourself. You set a base. So, you say, okay, if I can just do today, I did it. That means tomorrow it should be that much easier because now I'm setting a base 3 times. Someone said, I don't know, I've heard it. 3 times and it's a habit. No, 3 times is not a habit. 3 times is just doing something 3 times.
Yeah, 3 times. Yeah, that's it.
Right.
For sure.
Maybe heroin. I don't know. Never tried.
That's called addiction.
That's addiction, right? That's a habit. Oh, that's a habit. But I think exercise is done 3 times. It's done. It's really like 3 months.
Yeah.
But you want to build a base. You want to say, okay, now I've done it 3 days in a row. I've built a base now that I'm starting to teeter on into maybe serious disappointment territory if I don't go the third day. A third day, I'm like, 4th day, then I've earned a day off. It's okay. Now I commit myself. So it's really that's the mental gymnastics I'm talking about. I say, okay, 3 days on, I got through that. It's that first day that's so hard. It's that getting up and, because now you got nothing. You're like, and then by the time I finish today, it's just I'll have worked out 1 day, right? But another piece so that's the mental gymnastics is really just kind of building that base. But that's not enough. You really, most people need some sort of community. And what's great about the gym, my gym, the CrossFit gym, is that there's an accountability model also. And you have, for sure, you have an app. Every CrossFit gym has an app. There's a bunch of them. And you log your workout and you compare yourself on a leaderboard with others,
Oh, got it. So they actually rank you.
Yeah, I can see what other people have done. You don't have to mark your scores down, but I do. And I'm often at the bottom or often near the bottom. And
so how do you get over that? So nobody likes to feel like they're at the bottom, especially as you get older. Like what is going through your mind when that happens?
Well, I focus on the win that I went, that I participated.
So you focus on the positive.
Yeah. And I also think, okay, I'm often the oldest person doing the workout, and I'm often, I'm not a natural athlete. That's not my thing. I've been moving all my life, but I've never been a good athlete. I've never been like a great, I was not a high school star athlete. And so, that's not, I've never really valued that. Never really cared much about that. So for me, but for those who are very competitive, it can be difficult. You have to kind of set your metrics and say, okay, I beat all the people who are my age or older. Okay. Then I'm first place. So really it's you got to pick your metrics,
Yeah.
And also that improvement, you're also competing at yourself. So once I do one workout, if I do that same workout months later, which is common, you'll see that last score will pop up in these apps and you just say, okay, I did a little better or I did a little worse, whatever. I did it twice. Now the point is that the more you do it, the more this is how I work. The more I'm personally invested. And the more you're invested, the less likely you are to stop, to pull
Yeah.
out, because you've put this base down.
Yeah.
You know, unlike money, exercise, a base of exercise is not a sunk cost. Like we talk about sunk costs sometimes in business,
Yeah.
where, you know, whereas if I'm losing money and I keep putting money into it, it's not a good thing. But you're not losing something when you exercise. You're gaining something.
Yeah.
You know, and there's so many benefits from it, from the endorphins to the little community that you have, to that healthy habit. It gets me up.
Yeah.
You know, and when life changes, like we have a pandemic, I was kind of pleased that I had this problem. Like I need to exercise and I have to solve it. And I had to figure out how to do that. It wasn't, oh, here's a good time for me to not exercise. That was not going to happen. And I felt really good about that.
It's good.
I felt good about that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Really
I think that, so I think that habits, and interesting they made, you know, the distinction between routines. You know, I think that habits are, they're so, especially when you're older, especially when you're busy, um, we put them off for whatever reason, we make excuses.
You mean to establish a new
to
one?
establish them. Yeah, to establish them. And
well, why do you want to have it? I mean, that's the question. It's like, okay, so I want to start going to the gym. Well, is that really the goal? I mean, going to the gym is not going, you know, it's getting in shape. It's losing a few pounds. It's setting some sort of a goal.
yeah.
You know,
So establishing what you really want to accomplish,
right,
is really important. I mean, at least that has been the case for me. Like, and then also I would say that removing all the friction that you can from whatever that is to reach that goal, or to do the tasks or the little habits or activities that become habitual to reach your goal. At least that's been the case for me, because I know that I do not like little things like getting in my car and driving and going. I'm sure I'll go to your gym someday, but I know for myself that if I had to go to the gym all the time, I just wouldn't go. I remember spending years of like paying $50 a month
mm-hmm.
To a gym that I never went to.
Maybe
and I'm like,
$300.
What? No.
Then you have really, you know, maybe 50 isn't enough.
No. I like doing my crunches at home. So maybe you're right. So just as some closing thoughts, what would you recommend to people who are starting a habit, and then what would you recommend to people who are already pretty healthy? What would you say to them to think about how to improve their habits, or how you think about curating your habits?
Yeah.
What would be some of your thoughts around those two things?
I think there's some problems with certain types of habits that people, I go online, you go on Instagram, or you check out, Twitter, and you see a lot of these sort of trends. And I think there are a lot of really healthy lifestyles, for instance, that you can take on. And I see a lot of paleo and a lot of Whole30, which is, very similar to paleo. So these are diet, sort of diet programs where you eliminate, certain elements of your diet. It's a very healthy way to live. I aspire to that. I think it's great. I've done both. But I've failed at setting many of these paleo type habits, because I realized that you can't change. It's really difficult to change more than one thing. Like I could start exercising, and that involves giving up some sleep and going to the gym, right? That I substitute sleep for gym. That's one thing, really, But if I go paleo, for instance, this is important. This can be applied to any number of behaviors that you're trying to modify. It may look like, well, I'm just going to change my diet. No, it's not that. You're talking about many habits and routines that are baked into your eating that you're changing. So with paleo, you give up grains, like grains, like wheat and rice, and you give up alcohol, and you give up any kind of sweeteners, and you give up legumes, beans, and you give up what else? The other things that you give up. And those represent different habits. Like as I said before, one of my routines is to eat some ice cream in the evening. Right? That's something I enjoy doing.
Yeah.
That goes away, as well as my morning Cheerios. That goes away. And my milkshake that I like in the afternoon, that goes away. All these things start to go away, or my chili that I might eat on the weekend or something like this. It has beans. All these things, you're talking about changing all kinds of things. And it's not just one habit. So a restrictive diet like that is a great aspiration, but that's very difficult to do. So I would say cut one thing out. And what I really liked, you told me years ago, we've been friends a long time, and one thing that you said was you dropped caffeine. I don't know if you're still not drinking caffeine.
I'm not. Yeah, I'm not.
You're off caffeine. You've been off caffeine for a long time.
Years.
I'm sitting here sucking it down like but
no judgments here.
No judgment. Thank you. But you just gave up caffeine. That's really one thing that you are giving up, though. That's not. You didn't say I'm giving up caffeine and I'm giving up sugar and I'm giving up all these other, it's just caffeine.
It was incremental. Yeah.
It's incremental, and that's doable.
Yes.
Because you could have decaf coffee. You could have, you can do things.
Workarounds.
And there's workarounds, and it doesn't impact massively. So when you're trying to modify your behavior, which is really creating a new habit in a sense,
right?
You really have to look at when time of day and different behaviors you have and different social situations, how that's going to impact your life, because it may impact your life in much broader way. And now all of a sudden you're changing, 5 things about your life throughout the day. And your life is not even your life anymore. It's totally different. It was hard to give up caffeine, wasn't it? That first time you had headaches and it was difficult.
Oh yeah, it was awful. I've done it. I have some muscle memory of it, but because I've done it before and gone through the withdrawals and the migraines and awfulness. But I remember I wanted to, because again, it's about the goal for me. I wanted to get better sleep. I wanted to optimize my sleep. So I was willing to try that so that I can wake up feeling better. And then the ultimate goal, not the ultimate goal of life, but the ultimate goal of at least fitness for me was to feel good. And so I was willing to give up something and go through the pain of giving up this coffee so that I can sleep better. So ultimately, really, I could feel good. And so 2 thoughts that I would have for anybody who's thinking about this, about habits, is I think one point you just made was about community. If you don't have a community, you have to find one. You have to surround yourself at least with 1 or 2 very influential people in your life that are gonna maybe they're not gonna be outright telling you what you should do, but they just exude it. There's something about them that maybe encourages you. For me, that was my wife. I mean, she's very fit. She's all about fitness and health, and she would just encourage me. Hey, you want to do yoga? And I would literally tell her no for about, I think, 2 or 3 years. And then finally I was like, yeah, I'll do it. And yoga made me feel great. I loved it. I still love it. I just
resisting it. And then you did it.
Oh, totally. Literally for years. I mean, 3 years, I think.
Think about that. If you're listening to this, think about that. There are things that you've been resisting.
Yeah.
That could be helpful, but you've just dismissed them. And now it's really just a habit of saying no to that thing,
I think the reason why I said no was because I had a story that I didn't even know I had going on in my head, that it was the anti-exercise. I could not get fit. I'm going to feel badly for the rest of my life.
Yeah.
So I had
hooked on feeling bad. In fact, feeling bad is a powerful drug.
It was a powerful prison. I could not get myself out of it until, and this is another thing we just talked about, incremental behavior. I just started trying little things and going from there. And I think the last thing I would say is about expectations. This kind of goes back to the whole beating yourself up. For me, like expectations of myself, I often beat myself up because I have these big expectation of myself. I think that I should be back to the way I was when in my 20s or whatever it was. You know what I mean? I have these things that was able to do, this bench press. Like now I don't even think about that. I completely eradicated those, and I have different expectations. My expectation is just to feel good, to make sure I do my exercises, to go.
So the goal is, you know, we think about, you know, I want to lose weight. It's like, well, why, you know, dig in deeper. Why do you want to lose weight? Do you want to lose weight because people are telling you you're fat, or do you want to lose weight because you are not able to do the things that you could do if you were weighed less? And it needs to come from within. It needs to resonate with yourself, or else it's not going to stick. It needs to be internally motivated. You know, I really believe that it is. Until Rachel put it to you in a way that made sense to you, till it clicked with you, you weren't going to do it.
No. Yeah.
You weren't going to do yoga until finally it was like, there was some, you know, that pain versus, you know, benefit flipped. It just tipped over.
Yeah.
In your mind.
In my mind. Yeah. And I think that the interesting thing, we keep on talking about pain, that we haven't really talked about it.
Maybe it's just resistance.
No, I think pain, like, I think that there's a lot there. We can't talk about it right now. We should wrap up, but pain is, I think, often the answer. It is the, I'm not saying like again, back to flagellating yourself. But I think that these moments in our life, like exercising, even relational pain, the more and more I think about pain, it often is an incredible indicator of, one, you're doing something wrong, or it can be you're doing something right. Like exercise, I wake up, I sometimes feel sore. That means I probably did something right. It doesn't mean I need to keep on pushing myself, killing myself, but that feels good. It feels good to go through that.
It hurts to grow. That's why I call it growing pains.
Yes.
Well, you got it. You know, growing is a good thing, and it does hurt to grow. You know, and so you can't. The only way to get around it is to get through it.
Yes.
You know, if you want to grow, you're going to feel some discomfort, and that, you know, but it does pay you back. You know, it does. You do get benefits from it.
Dividends.
Dividends. So, on a spirit of wrapping this up, we've been collecting some email addresses, and some of you have out there have provided your email addresses as a newsletter subscription. So we are going to launch next week with our newsletter. So you can look for that in your email, in your inbox.
We encourage you to reply back. We want this to be an ongoing conversation, not just between Howard and me, but also between all of us. So love to hear your thoughts, love to hear your replies, or your even your challenges. Anything you got, bring it. So Howard, fantastic talking to you.
Great talking to you. And John, I look forward to our next conversation so much.
Likewise. Always great talking.
Take care, man.
You too, my friend. Bye-bye.
Bye.